Greetings, friends, and welcome back to the Burgers and Fries podcast, your Bob's Burgers companion podcast. With you is Brian and Ryan, and we're here. I didn't think we were going to make it, but we made it.
Yeah, it's been a busy couple weeks. We talked I think we talked 2 podcasts ago about how we were going to stockpile for the holidays.
And we have not.
We did. We stockpiled for a whole 1 week.
For 1 week, we had one. And now we're scrambling last minute here.
Yeah. Things got in the way. We're here. We're not going to miss a week, though. We would never miss a week. That's the whole point of the weekly podcast.
We're going to never try to miss a week. I hope that never happens.
Okay, we've got that rant.
That's been our number one priority, so I hope it never happens.
We've got that rant. Don't forget. We have that rant that I did, what was that, a month ago, that we could always release as a weekly podcast.
I mean, I guess. It was fine. But
no, it was not.
No.
That would be a last resort type of release if we needed to do one.
Yeah, there's plenty of other stuff we have from previous podcasts that I think.
But I'd like to keep it Bob's Burgers related.
That's as much as possible.
That's why I said that rant would be good.
I don't even remember that. What was that on?
We were talking about the current state of. Get it? The state of. We were talking about. I was kind of semi-ranting about how Bob's Burgers has recently become kind of something like a media phenomenon. Like
all the merch and stuff that's been out there. And well, not necessarily the merch, but the art. The artwork is huge when you follow people on Instagram, and like everybody's like crocheting things and sayings on little crochet.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I don't know the hobby, things. So I don't know what you call it. And then you hang them up on the wall, and it says like, "All right, it's got Linda with a bottle of wine," and somebody no, it's needlepoint. That's what it is. Needlepoint or stitching. I don't know.
Cross stitch.
Maybe that's it.
I don't know.
And again, I apologize to any of our listeners out there who do cross-fit, cross-stitch, needlepoint. I don't know.
We apologize to people who do
what the differentiators are. And all I know, it's not crocheting because that's when you have like the little hooks. So outside of that, I don't really know. Yeah. And it just shows how ignorant I am on the topic. So
that's right. That's why our podcast is not related to knitting and finer things of sewing.
That's good because oh my goodness, that would be so awful because it would just be silence for like half an hour. It'd be terrible. But this week we have season 3. Wow. Nope. See, I did it again. Season 4, episode 19.
Yeah.
The kids run away.
The kids run away.
Is this the one where they go to the blueberry farm? Is that...
No, that was the...
No, we already watched that
Bob
one.
Fires the kids. That was season 3.
Yeah.
No,
so maybe I'm confusing that premise for this premise.
So this is the one where Louise has the cavity, and she goes to Gail's to hide and run away.
Okay.
And there's like the stalemate and everything. I'll read the synopsis. April 27th, 2014 was the original air date. Written by Rich Rinaldi, directed by Buhwan Lim, Kyeon Lim, and upon learning that she has a cavity and needs a filling, Louise runs away from the dentist's office and seeks refuge at Aunt Gail's. When Louise refuses to go home, Linda sends Tina and Jean to join her and bets her that she won't last the weekend with Aunt Gail's craziness. Well, it's in quotes.
Which is very true. And I remember that now, that you did the synopsis, because I remember... Linda's like, okay, well, have fun here. We'll see you later. And Bob's like, really, just gonna leave her here? And it's like, oh, please, she won't last 5 minutes. With how crazy Gail is. I remember that little dialogue. I know that's not. I like word for word.
Yeah, we'll talk about things that we liked and disliked after the episode. I do remember one thing. Of course, there is Teddy in this episode, and he goes on the stakeout with them, which is really funny that they're all on the stakeout. Teddy just being Teddy is always fun. But we're gonna pause. We're gonna watch, and then we're gonna come back and review the episode. The kids run away.
I'm just gonna do a little trivial touch-up on that second molar.
What the hell's all that for?
You have a cavity.
A cavity? No, I'm not getting a filling. Hey, fill this!
Hey!
You back off!
It's fun in there. It's fun.
Here's what's gonna happen, okay? I'm going out this window, and that's the last you'll ever see of these teeth.
Your parents will bring you back, Louise. You have a cavity.
Let them. I'll keep running. Oh, they'll never find me. You're gonna wait 10 minutes till you tell my dad I'm gone.
This is silly.
What did I just say?
Okay, all right, 10 minutes. I'm sorry.
Adios, yap!
She's gone. She ran away. What? She told me to wait 10 minutes before I told you, but I'm a grown man, and she's a little girl, so I waited 8.
You waited 8 minutes to tell me my daughter ran away?
Don't tell Louise I didn't wait the full 10.
And we're back. that was the episode, and
That was the episode.
now we're going to talk about it.
Okay. That was an episode. The end. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thanks for joining us.
No, we got some things we could talk about. Where would you like to start?
Sorry, that was a really bad yawn.
Where would you like to start?
I would like to start with, the whole dentist thing, right? So I think it was really great how he handled each one of the kids, right? Every kid is different with Tina and Jean and Louise. And so, Tina's like in love with him, and, he's like, hey, great, perfect as always. And Tina's like, great, but this just doesn't have to be a business relationship. This can, clearly, go somewhere outside my perfect teeth. And then Jean just really wants to be there to get the games.
Apparently
right?
to get a prize.
Right, to get a prize. Which, by the way, when he's treating Jean, Dr. Yep is treating Jean, we see him flossing his teeth, but he's got like this big floss guard down or something, and it's just covered
it's gross.
in little food boogers, and it's disgusting. It was really gross, the amount of floss stuff that sprayed onto his guard. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
It was really gross. But then Louise, it's really interesting because sometimes Dr. Yap's scared of her, sometimes he's not. In the beginning, clearly Louise is scared. Right? She doesn't want to be there. She doesn't like the dentist. This is anywhere she wants to be. And then we get Dr. Yap, who just seems pretty calm and cool. He's like, well, thanks, come on in. Why don't you open your mouth? A little wider, doing the opposite of what I told you to do. You need to open your mouth now. Okay? I'm going to go in. All right, thank you. Just tiny little hole where I can barely see anything. And he goes in and immediately touches the tooth that has the cavity, and Louise slaps him across the face. He's like, what are you doing? You gotta talk to me. He's like, sorry, I forgot. So it was like this whole big thing, and then when she runs away, and maybe he's afraid because she has a pick and he doesn't want to get stabbed. Like a tooth cleaning tool.
I think he's just scared of Louise because
in general, because she's so unpredictable.
Yeah, because we've seen that before, where where she's unpredictable, but he just for some reason doesn't get along with Louise very well.
Right. Okay.
I mean,
he doesn't. You're right.
It's just
Louise and him are like, it's like arch nemesis.
Kind
almost.
of. Yeah, I think you're right. It's that she's unpredictable. She had the tooth, the literal toothpick that she was using as like a shiv.
Yeah.
And I think it's just she knows how much Louise hates the dentist. I mean, it's not their first time at the dentist. So they've got a history built up.
Yeah, this is already the second or third time we've seen Dr. Yap's office.
It's the second because the first time was the Dr. Yap episode, which was just Bob in the office.
Okay, and then that was the first time we see the kids in the office.
The first time we see them in the actual doctor's office. Yeah, they were in the waiting room to pick up Bob, but yeah, and then the last time we saw Dr. Yap was during
where they went to that cabin, that timeshare in the
that was the same episode.
The ski mountain. Oh no, that was the same episode.
This is
right.
The one where it was the college episode.
Yes, thank you.
And we didn't really see too much of like a Louise Dr. Yap dynamic in those episodes.
No, not really.
But just the way that the episode started, because she's like, I can smell the fear on you, and so he's just intimidated by her, and that's completely fine. That he is. But yeah, she definitely has his number, and the whole you're gonna give me 10 minutes,
right,
to tell you that you're that I'm gone,
right.
And just that whole Dr. Yep running out. Hey, you guys, she told me not to tell you in 10 minutes, but I waited 8.
But no, I'm a grown man, and she's a little girl, so I waited 8. You waited 8 minutes to tell me my daughter ran away? Yeah, that was really funny. I like that whole back and forth. The whole scene I really liked, right? Where we have Louise versus Dr. Yap, right? Where you tell Louise just isn't quite herself, right? It's like, there's something we have to do. I'm going to do this, but don't stick anything in my mouth.
Yeah.
And he does, slaps him across the face, and then we see the next scene where he tells her that she has a cavity, and she just jumps up, grabs one of the dental cleaning instruments, and just starts swiping at him, right? Like, you're not doing this. I'm going out the window, and I will cut you if you come any closer.
You have a cavity.
Yeah, right. You got a cavity. You got a little cavity, right? They're trying not to alarm her, right? This is something that has to be done. They can't just let the cavity go. It would cause a lot of pain, and her whole mouth would just rot away. So that's nothing that's any fun. So for anybody to get taken care of, and actually just the last 2 years, I don't know. I had my first cavity
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, 2-3 years ago, something like that. Yeah, I haven't had one since, and I've only had the one.
Good.
So I made it a good 30 plus without
Nice.
Getting a cavity. So I'm okay with that.
A+.
Yeah, right. So if I go another 30 years, it'll be my 60s when I get my second cavity.
It's true.
I'd be okay with that.
By then, you may not have any teeth.
By then, science will be so far beyond what we can comprehend that we'll have some sort of like.
We won't need teeth at all. Period.
Yeah, we won't need teeth. Well, I was gonna say we'll have some special kind of titanium teeth that only wear down, or that no. What's the Futurama thing where Morgan's teeth so strong it allows you to eat other teeth.
Oh yeah, I don't.
Right.
I think it's Thompson's teeth or something.
Yeah. That's really funny. Thompson's teeth. Teeth so hard you can eat other teeth, which is really funny. So yeah, it's something like that along the lines of Futurama, where you just have teeth strong enough to eat, through metal.
The teeth the teeth strong enough to eat other teeth.
Yeah, and I like the commercial too, because the guy's taking a spoon and scooping other teeth in his mouth, and oh my god, it's so awful.
It's gross. Yeah.
That's just cringy, because when you put stuff in your mouth and it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, teeth and teeth would not be
like
great.
it's like chewing on rocks, right? That's nothing great.
Diamonds.
The teeth. Put diamonds in your mouth.
Yeah, you talk about hard substances. Diamond being.
Yeah, that'd be one of the hardest. So, anyway, that's my wish, is to have wonderful,
Thompson's teeth.
powerful teeth. Yes.
You want Thompson's teeth when you're 60.
But I don't want to have to chew other teeth.
It's true. It's just gives you the ability to. Is all they're saying.
Okay.
You don't have to do it, but they are teeth strong enough to chew other teeth.
Okay. All right. I think I can live with that.
I don't think we're going to have a diet of teeth anytime soon.
I hope not. Oh, God, could you imagine No, we're not getting through that. Okay. So anyway, back to the episode. Yeah. So the dentist thing was great, but then it kind of leads us into Louise running away. She calls her parents, say, this is goodbye. This isn't how I thought it would go, but I'll see you guys later. Goodbye. Mm-hmm. Right. Hangs up the phone. Before that, we get to see one of the cooler parts is with her go bag.
Yes, the go bag
which I really like.
That she's had packed since she was 7.
She's
so
had it
this for 2 years.
in some tiny little. It's been in a park.
Yeah, it looks like it's in a pond in a park.
some pond, and she's got a rope tied to a tree, and she kind of swipes away the dirt to access the rope, pulls it up, and it's in a big garbage bag, which is wrapped up. So opens that up to keep it watertight, and then we see this big duffel, and it's just full of snacks. Really,
it looks like it had Twinkies in it.
Yep.
It looks
and then
like
there was a candy cell phone, which was her, this is my way out of here, right? The cell phone in case I need to call anybody. And she's like, candy cell phone? Oh, I forgot I was 7 when I packed this. So she's had this go bag for 2 years, which is insane.
Well, I mean,
think about that. She's had the foresight to,
I don't think it's,
escape at any point, right?
I think that's just I think it's funny that she had to go bag. It's not necessarily even the foresight. I think she just had one.
Right.
And to have that, and then to pack food that is going to be good for 2 years, like Twinkies. Mm-hmm. I mean that was pretty funny. It looks like it was Twinkies and candy. Right. Because she pulls out, candy cell phone. I was 7 when I packed this. I was just a kid back then. Right. That's really funny.
Yeah, that was pretty good. So I like you have Bob and Linda and they're talking. It's like, well, come on, Louise. What do you think she planned this? Well, she'll be home any minute. She has to come home. And then the next scene is her getting her go bag, which I thought was really funny. So she says goodbye to her parents, and she goes to a hotel, right?
Yeah, she goes to
and she's got a fake ID that she made.
It's funny because I just watched. I was showing the kids this weekend the Home Alone movie, so we watched Home Alone 2. Okay. So it kind of reminded me of Kevin McAllister trying to check into the Plaza Hotel. Yes. I know he did.
He makes it work though.
He does because he calls in for the check-in, but it was just here he is. I need an adult to check in. Right. So she has what was her name? I didn't write down her name.
Oh boy, we should have. Betsy. Her last name was Black, so it was like Betsy Black. I think
Mrs. Black. Yeah. And you're trying to check into the Grand Duchess suite with one Mr. Bob Belcher's credit card.
Yes. So she stole one of Bob's credit cards, which is crazy that Bob didn't notice. It must be like a credit card that he never uses because he never noticed it and never canceled it.
I bet it's not because he.
You think it's an expired one?
Yeah. I don't think it's an expired one. My guess is that it's a card that he may have reported stolen. And so the numbers are still accurate, and it is still a card that would appear to be non-expired. Mm-hmm. But he never ran the card because you need an adult to check in and everything. Sure. So I think she just has this card. She had her student ID from Wagstaff.
Yes, which she wrote over, Betsy Black. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure that was her name. And then she's like, so you want me to check in with a Bob Belcher credit card and an ID that says
he's
Black,
like,
age 43. He's like, yeah, it says I'm an adult. Yeah, it does, but it also says Wagstaff School.
Because at first he says we just need an adult to check in, and he goes, yep, here's my ID. Mm-hmm. And that's where that spawns the whole. It's not.
And he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to go ahead and call the police to take you home. He's like, nope. And she grabs her bag and sprints out of the hotel. And then Plan B, she clearly has thought about this, right? Mm-hmm. So Louise then goes to her Aunt Gail's house, and like, oh, I love she answers there. Oh, Louise, thank God you're here. I thought you were a murderer, right? Mm-hmm. But the crazy thing is she already knows what to say. She tricks her Aunt Gail into letting her stay there for, well, indefinitely, right, as far as we know. And she tricks her by saying, oh, hey, remember, I wrote you a letter a couple weeks ago saying I was going to stay here for the weekend. And she's like, oh, the postman,
stealing my letters.
And
if that's his way of trying to get my attention to show he likes me, it's working.
Right. Yeah. So that was pretty funny. And then that's how she finds a place to stay, right? Mm-hmm. And she runs to the bathroom quick and gets a map out and say, okay, Cuba is that way, in case this doesn't work out. So she has
a backup
to the backup. But then how's she going to get to Cuba? Is she going to hitchhike down there? Like, what's her plan for that? I kind of want to see how many stages she had for this plan.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I wonder how she would get to Cuba.
Right?
Probably hitchhiking. She would. That would be my guess.
As a 9-year-old, do you think that would go well?
Well, she would try.
It
doesn't mean that it's going to work. I mean,
true.
Just because that's what her mind thinks doesn't mean that it's going to work.
Right. That's true. That's a very good point. So that sets us up for this basically the whole episode, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of sets us up here, where we get to Gail's apartment, right? They have some fun jokes about Gail.
Beatrice Black.
So close.
Black.
Thank you for looking at
age 43.
Beatrice Black, age 43. I had everything right except for the first name.
Yeah, well, they don't say it in the episode.
It just shows it on the card.
It's just on the card, yeah. So I had to
yeah, so I thought it was
episode.
Betsy.
Yeah. Anyway, continue.
So we get set up with Gail. We get the fun joke where she has to pretend that she's the last person alive in order to get to sleep, right? And then later on, we get the how we actually get to see how she talks herself in this make-believe thing where it's okay to go to sleep alone, and we'll talk about that later. But we get set up then for, Louise and Gail, and Louise now then versus her parents, right? Because Linda calls Gail, which we get another funny exchange. Hi, Gail, it's Linda. Oh, hi, Linda, it's Gail. It's like, yeah, I know. I called you, hon, right? And so she's like, oh, Louise is missing. Oh, yeah, she's right here. And that's how we find out that she's there. And then we get this, okay, I know, and then we get this scheming, between Bob and Linda. And that's the big thing, where they have this bet. They bring in reinforcements. They bring in Gene and Tina, right? And Tina's the man on the inside, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And we get the bet. We get the only way, and they know this, right? They know, Bob and Linda know that the only way they're going to do this is if they can get a bet, right? If they can wager Louise. They're not going to outsmart her. Or not outsmart her, but they're not going to, they're not going to get out any other way, right? They have to make it a bet. So if she can last the whole weekend at Gail's, she doesn't have to get the filling, right? Hmm. And surprisingly, it works. I didn't think it was going to work, but it does.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I guess I wish I would have been able to have seen more of what goes on during the weekend, because we only see a couple things, and if those were the worst of the worst case scenarios, I would have stayed too.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Like the first part was the reading of Gail's poetry, and these are all suggestions by Tina / the parents are saying you should suggest these as things that are going to...
Right, Tina has a cell phone, and Linda and her are texting each other, right? So Linda is trying to plan things out. But you're right, and before we get to what actually happened, I would have liked to have seen more.
I think we only saw...
Because I want to see more antics.
Yeah, we only saw 3 antics, and I know it's a 21-minute episode, you can only fit in what you can fit in. We see 4 antics, although one isn't a planned one. We had we can talk about them in length a little bit. But
so
we had the poetry. We had the cat caps, putting cat caps on the cat claws.
Thank you.
To color them. Jean-Claude, whatever the cat's name was. Mm-hmm. and then the Gale Force wins the board game, and then technically, which isn't really an antic, but her sleeping in the fallout shelter because she's the last person alive on Earth, and it's okay to sleep alone because of that.
Right. And so we get the poetry, which is just awful poetry. Although I did kind of want to see where that Mayo Bayo Deo was going. How many rhymes did she have?
Yeah. Scott
I kind of want to see where that was going. If she was just going to name things that rhymed with O at the end.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny. And then we get to see, let's see. What was the second one that you said? The cat caps.
The cat caps.
Yep. Which I didn't know what that was until I figured that they had to paint their nails. But so these are actually things that go over the cat's nails. Is that what that is?
Yeah. So basically, if you live in an apartment that doesn't allow clawed cats, you, instead of getting them declawed, which is some people consider inhumane, although really it's only the front paws that you get declawed because the back ones would be inhumane. But if your apartment doesn't allow you to get declawed, you maybe can make it a concession and you buy cat claw caps, because they can't pick those off. They don't have the ability to pick them off, but you just put, it's basically like thimbles for cat claws. So they can still do stuff, but you have to cap them pretty far. So really, it sounds like they just had colored caps that they were going to put on the cats.
That's so weird. But I'm not a cat person, so I don't know these things. So yeah, they have like little snowflakes on them. So that's one thing that they have to do, and the cats don't like it. And with the cats we have are Jean-Paul Van Damme.
Thank you.
Pink Eye, and Mr. Business, which we all know.
Mr. Business.
Mr. Business is the most popular one. But then we got Pink Eye, which is an awful name for a cat. I hope that cat's okay. And the cat wasn't walking around with pink eye all the time. And then Jean-Paul Van Damme, which is a pretty good cat name. I like that one a lot. And then we get the Gale Force Wins. We get that whole setup, which is a game that is like the size of Twister, but it's a board game.
It's called Gale Force Wins. It's more than just a board game. It's about love and war and fantasy and plagues and fashion.
Cool. So how do we play it?
Princess Gale must save the 5 realms of Worldlandia from the evil winds sent by the wicked sorceress Rebecca, who thinks she's so cute. She lives upstairs. Louise, you go first. Uh-oh, you landed in Spongin' Dungeon. You gotta sit with this wet sponge on your head for 30 minutes.
This game seems pretty weird. Maybe we should go home.
I'd rather sit here with the wet sponge on my head all day than get that stupid filling.
So they're playing the game. It's literally like a 6-hour game. And at least 6 hours, because they weren't even close to being done yet.
Correct.
But just kind of the things that she talks about. It's a game that's about love and war and fantasy and plagues and fashion. And I guess the premise of the game was Princess Gale has to save the 5 worlds of Worldlandia.
Worldlandia. Great name.
From the evil wind sent by wicked sorceress Rebecca, who thinks she's so cute. She lives upstairs.
And she lives upstairs. Yeah.
So they have the Spongin' Dungeon. So Louise goes first and gets put in the Spongin' Dungeon. So she's got to sit with a wet sponge on her head. And then we have more. We have more of the game going on because we cut back to the stakeout, and then we have Jean, who lands in Cold Soria. The land Cold Soria, and I don't know what's going to happen there, but
I don't know, but it sounds awful. And then because he has to borrow,
she says we don't know what other options she has. He just says you can ask Tina for some of the magic ointment, and Tina goes, but I clucked like a chicken
for 20 minutes
to get this magic ointment, and she goes, I don't know. So then Gale goes, uh-oh, you've upset the Gale... Your indecision has upset the Gale Force Winds, and it turns on a fan, and all the pieces slide off, and so for some reason there's a blender on the board that she kicks it over, and she says, now we gotta start over. So, I feel like that game is just, I don't know, it's just a bunch of nonsense. I wish we could have seen more of it.
I wish we could see more of the game. I wish we could have seen more... Because that's it. That's the third and final... test besides the victory ice cream.
Yeah, and then, but the thing that Louise says, she goes, the game's been going on for 6 hours and we haven't even passed the cliffs of Huxtable.
Yeah, which is Yeah, that didn't age very well.
No, it's still funny though. It's still the fact
absolutely.
that she called it that, the Cliffs of Huxtable.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so then the next day happens. She made it the weekend without cracking. The final thing that happens is they give her cold ice cream, and of course, cold ice cream hurts like a bitch on a cavity.
Cavity, yeah, absolutely.
So that kind of convinces her that she needs to go get it filled because she can't have ice cream anymore.
Right.
You know, what kid doesn't want to have ice cream? Or does not want to have ice cream? So Gail has this really good idea, which kind of goes back to the B story, which we'll I guess we can talk about that now before we talk about Gail's idea on how to get the cavity, because that's a huge part of the end of how things work. So Bob and Linda, we talked about how they send the kids over to Gail in order for them to be on the inside to try to crack them. And Bob and Linda think they're so smart that they have this idea. They're like, I should write a parenting book about this. And Bob says,
I like the title of her parenting book. I think it's so funny.
So Bob's like, there are plenty of parenting books out there. She goes, I thought that was a joke.
Right.
I thought those were jokes. I didn't know those were real parenting books. So Brian, what's the name of the book?
The name of the book is Hey, I saw that. Put it back. It's like, I'll make millions. Well, I thought that was really funny. It's like, what, they're parenting books? Yeah, which I thought was really good. But the whole time, it's this scheme, Linda versus Louise, and they cannot lose, and they cheat, and they steal, because they know, no matter what, Louise has to get that cavity, right? So she can't win, right? Which, and Bob's like, boy, geez, like parenting, come on, like this isn't.
We can do this.
This is a little intense, right? A little intense.
Yeah, I mean I think their intentions were there. They weren't the greatest of intentions, but they definitely thought that she would crack for sure. Because they were feeding all these things that they thought Louise would crumble to, and she didn't. And she has I guess Louise has a strong will. For that.
Well, she definitely. Well, it just goes to show how much she dislikes, the dentist.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the big thing. She can't stand the dentist. This is way beyond that now, right? She's in too deep. There's no way she can't go back, especially now with a bet involved. And then Teddy kind of gets.
I think it's funny how he gets involved, because they're explaining it to him at the restaurant, and they're just they're basically saying that if she loses, she wins because she gets the cavity, and. But if Louise, she has to get the filling regardless. And Teddy's like, it's pretty high level parenting there, but what happens if she flies the coop and goes elsewhere? Did you think of that? Do you have a contingency plan for that? Bob, I mean, you don't have it. What's, so Bob starts to, which is really funny because again, this is a great kind of give and take with Bob and Teddy's relationship, because he backs off a bit and says, well, this was mostly Linda's idea. Because he doesn't want to take credit for this not being a good plan, because he doesn't want to upset or have Teddy think any less of him, as much as he won't admit that. He says, it's more of a Linda. This is more of a Linda thing. This hasn't been my plan, but we'll go stake out instead. So that is...
And Teddy kind of just forces his way into that. He knows they're going to do a stakeout, and he decides to just walk up to their car. Hey, Bob and Linda, what are you guys doing here? He's like, well, Teddy, what are you doing here? I was just going to park back there for like 3 or 4 hours and, kind of saw you guys.
Yeah,
so I walked over
I don't know why he was parked there. He never says why.
I think that's why. It was because he wanted to do the stakeout too. He wanted to be part of it. So like, well, I was just going to park over there, so why don't we all just hang out in one car? And so he gets into the back. He makes them move their front seat up, which is a giant bench seat, which, how old is that car?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
No, 90s.
It used to be, God, maybe earlier than that.
90s is when the early 90s is when they were fading out.
Sure,
They were switching to bucket seats.
Got it.
It's been a long time.
Because the bench seating in the front, where they both have to scooch up, which I really like the animation on that, because they're both scooting up simultaneously to get that giant bench seat to move up so Teddy can have room in the back. And they do it twice. And he goes, "Is that it? Is that all the room you have?" And they're like, "Yes, Teddy.
I'll make it work." He's like, "We could just go to my truck." No, we'll make it just fine.
Yeah.
Again, he just wants to be involved. He wants to be part of it.
Right.
Which is just he's always wanting to be part of the family as much as he can.
And at this point, we are introduced to Teddy's apnea. Right, a little later, we find him sleeping in the back of the car and snoring. And I was like, oh god, Teddy's apnea is just disgusting. And then we get, and I'm not going to make the noises for all of our viewers because it's going to be gross.
Yeah.
And we get the the grunting, sneezing, coughing, of him like choking, with his apnea, and then he stops breathing, and they're like just staring at him, and just a big gasp, and they're like, oh my god, that was like 6 seconds. How long before he dies?
Yes.
Oh, Tina says Louise is losing it. Hopefully our little girl's about to snap.
Yeah, let's hope it's soon. Teddy's apnea is making me sick.
Oh, God.
That
Thank
one was
God.
like 6 seconds.
He's breathing.
I mean,
again.
how long before you die?
I like that. The whole, yeah. 6 seconds.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny. So we get that, and then we're at the point where, Louise wins. Mm-hmm. Louise has the upper hand. She won, and they have one last ditch effort, which is the ice cream for breakfast, and it's too much. She can't handle it.
Like they start crying. They all this, oh my baby.
Yeah.
And Teddy's like, our baby.
They hear her screaming inside, and Teddy kind of embraces Bob and Linda from the back seat, and he's just screaming, "Oh, our baby's in trouble!" Right? So it's something that had to be done, but then we get to see Aunt Gail. Hi, you can come in.
Hi.
How was school?
That's good.
Did you get lots of birthday presents?
So many.
Good. 0. Is it 0 birthday?
Yeah. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, happy birthday.
Thank you.
I will shut this door. We'll be done in a little bit. Okay. So we get to see Aunt Gail parent. Right?
Yeah,
Where she out-parents Bob and Linda in a matter of
And
minutes.
she wasn't even trying to outparent. She was just like, you gotta,
Correct.
gotta get this done.
She had a great idea.
It's
To get this...
because she notices that she has the cavity. She goes, "What's wrong, Louise?"
Mm-hmm.
And it's
It's what's...
she goes, what does she say?
She says, "I know it's scary. You're scared, but I'm not scared." She's like, "It's okay. It's okay to be scared. Like let's let Aunt Gail
Help you through
help you through this. Like, who do you want to pretend to be? Let's use our imagination."
Well, she's like, it's she's like, "I know you're scared. It's okay to be scared. I know something about scare. You've seen my life.
Yeah.
And so she goes, "Why don't you let me help you through this? We're going to turn your fear believe into make believe. So what do you want? What do you want to do?" So then they turn this whole event into like a spy game movie espionage type thing where Gail brings in
The package,
which is Louise, and it, and Dr. Yap is there, part of it. This is the acid I spoke about. Is she willing to do whatever's necessary to save the universe? And does that include not biting me during the procedure?
and he's like, "Yes, that includes not biting you."
And then he's like, so then Jean's there too to help them out. They do it. They have like a fake shootout. The section's clear. Let's get in there.
Yeah, and they're like clearing all the rooms. We have Jean and Tina. Jean has a banana. Tina has like a little hair dryer, and they're just running through clearing rooms. Like clear, Sector 3 cleared. Let's get her in. It's like, okay. So and then they have like the filling is like the microchip that they're putting installed, which is like their greatest weapon, secret weapon of all time. But then we have, which I love how they set up this whole scene. This to me is the best part of the episode, is where we have Teddy and Linda and Bob coming in now. They're rushing in. And all they have is their finger guns are their pretend guns, and we have this whole scene, this whole shootout, and you can tell Bob's really getting into it. It was funny. The whole time, Dr. Yap is trying to do the filling, and the kids are having a good time. Teddy's having a good time, but I like how Teddy's getting really into it. He like kind of pulls Dr. Yap away from what he's supposed to be doing, and they crash open. His guitar kind of falls off the mount in his dentist's office.
So which is a good little continuity that he still has his guitar up.
Right.
We saw that in the first Dr. Yap episode.
And so we just have this whole scene, which is very reminiscent of a heist, kind of shoot 'em up type secret espionage movie, like you said before, and it was beautifully done. the animation was great, the direction was great. With sometimes you only saw their feet, as they're running in. You don't see who's coming in, right? The viewer knows who it is, but that's kind of how movies would set things up.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we know exactly what's going on, but that's.
Yeah, so I thought that was really great. I loved that scene, and it was very enjoyable, right? So with what they were able to kind of develop and make it into Bob's Burgers, and we even have Dr. Yap going, "Oh, thank you, Louise, it's done, and you didn't inconvenience anyone at all." And he like kind of and then he died, right?
Yeah.
And then Tina's last lines of the episode, "I'll hug him back to life," and he's trying to. As she's trying to hug him back, which is just
Tina,
funny. It's like, Tina, that's enough. That's enough, Tina. Right. So that was pretty funny. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's pretty much the end of the episode. That's how Tina gets her cavity.
That's how Louise gets her cavity.
Louise gets her cavity. I just talked about Tina. Maybe that's why.
Good.
So that's what we got to see. And to your point, and I know this is like the fourth time we've talked about this, but yeah, I wanted to see a little bit more at Gale's.
Yeah,
But if there's more at Gale's, then we don't get that great dental filling cavity scene.
Yeah, the only thing I think that you could have done with less of would have been full scenes of Bob and Linda relaying things to Tina. That's not going to save too much time, but you didn't have to cut back every time. You could have just had to kind of Tina looking at the phone, or maybe done one of those montage things that we've seen in the show.
Yeah, you could have done a million different things of of maybe Louise having to try to walk a cat, right?
So yeah, I mean, there's just a few things, and it's just me wanting more.
Real fight or fake fight outside? Real fight or fake fight? Aw.
Probably fake.
Fake fight? Stupid kids. School just let out and there's a bunch of kids throwing each other in the lawn. Not my lawn, somebody else's lawn. If it was my lawn, I could spray them with a hose.
Get off my lawn, you damn kids.
Yeah, you damn kids. So...
Yeah, I think it's just us wanting more. It's not to say that what was in the episode wasn't sufficient, because it was sufficient. It's just it's me wanting what could have been more.
Right.
And that's how the show works sometimes, is that what we've seen and what we've had was good, but there could have been great or excellent in there. So that's about it for me on the episode.
Okay.
I don't really have too much else. We've kind of gone through everything.
Yeah, well, the one thing we didn't mention, and that I did want to mention...
Okay, go ahead.
...was Gale's... when she pretends that she's the last woman alive, and the apocalypse happened, and she has to go to bed. Right? Just what she has to do is... She's like, okay, time for bed. Oh my god, it's an apocalypse. Everybody's dead. I'm the last one alive. There's nobody else alive except for me and the men. The men are especially dead, which means it's okay to sleep alone. Good night. Yeah. And then she covers her tinfoil covered, mattress and kind of pulls it over her shelter, I should say, and pulls it over herself. And that's what keeps out the radiation. Yeah. Right. And we get this crazy scene of her sprinting around the apartment. Oh my god, we're all dead. And Jean's like, what's she doing? And then Louise is like, that's just something she has to do to go to sleep.
Before we get to the numbers, we didn't talk about the episode fun bits. We always forget those.
We always do.
So give me 1 second.
I even had them in my notes.
You did.
So the store was a unicycle built for two. Tandem unicycles. So now, is this a bicycle or is it side-by-side unicycles?
I think it's... because unicycles don't have handles, so it's literally a tandem bicycle without handlebars.
Okay.
That's how I envisioned it.
Okay,
it's two unicycles like this, and they can't ride with
There's just
handlebars.
a big pipe sticking in between them.
Yeah.
And the unicycles. Okay, so that's what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Which, we can see why that store would not last very long. And then the pest control van is Mouse of Cards.
Which is
pest control.
the same text as the original House of Cards title, screen, and everything. And then there was a burger and a half for the burger of the day.
Yep.
We had the onion ring around the rosemary burger, which sounds delicious. That's just a play on ring around the rosy. Pocket full of posies. And then there was another partially visible burger, the Sergeant Poblano's Lonely Hearted Choke Hearts Club, which is just a play on the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper Lonely Hearts Club band. And then, super special, just at the end of the episode, Gale was reciting her poetry again.
Right.
The whole, Mayo, Scott Baio, the happy things we should send into space poem.
Right.
So, yeah, there's the fun bits that we had. Now we will continue with the numbers.
The numbers.
Oh. That pain is a toxin from our enemy's ice cream serum. The antidote is in this needle.
Woo! Oh.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, no, you must. The whole universe is counting on you, kid.
Proceed.
Ow! Very good. You should be completely numb in just a few seconds. Now, this might look like ordinary porcelain filling from a sad, lonely dentist's office, but this is a microchip of our plans for the most amazing weapon system ever.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh no, our enemies are here.
Louise, the mission must go on.
Do it!
Get up!
Cover me, Barbie!
Go, go, go! Grenade! Flamethrower! Okay, then. Okay, all right.
I'm You gotta call in some air support! This is crazy!
We get the point! Jeez!
We got you!
Okay, you may have shot me too many times, but our cause will never die.
You did it, Louise.
I did it?
You did it. And it didn't inconvenience anyone at all.
I'll hug him back to life.
All right, I got math done.
Okay, let me get the timer up. The stopwatch for the 2 minutes. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Go.
All right, so episode fun bits. We just went through those because we almost forgot them again.
Mm-hmm.
But the unicycle built for 2, the Mouse of Cards, and an onion ring, and Sergeant Poblano. I gave it a 7. I enjoyed mostly I enjoyed the unicycle, the tandem bicycle built for 2.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah,
that was
that's a good
really funny. The other one, Mouse of Cards, was fine, and then the burgers were good. So I gave it a 7.
I gave it an 8, mostly because the burgers sounded really good to me, but then also tandem bicycle tandem unicycle also gets bumped up because I thought that was pretty good.
For story, I gave a 7. We talked about this already. It was a good story. It left me wanting more in the Gale place, but we had pretty much just an A story. There wasn't even really a B story in this episode. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it gets a 7 for me.
I gave this story an 8. I thought it was really clever, really thought out. We did mention we did want to see a little bit more at Aunt Gale's, but the cavity filling scene, kind of brought it up to an 8 for me. And then what was next?
Humor.
Humor. We both gave a 7.
Yeah, humor was a 7. It's pretty. It was a funny episode. There wasn't too much burst out laughing sequences.
Mm-hmm.
The whole scene at the end, which we talked about, the espionage scene was great. Otherwise, the humor was just kind of sporadic throughout.
Right. And then
others.
We both also gave a 7.
Mm-hmm.
I liked what we saw. We got exploration of some random park, which is world building that I like. We also got to see the dentist office again, which is fun. Anytime we get to be outside, as much as I love the Belcher's house and the burger shop, it's always fun to see them go someplace else. And we got Gail's apartment again.
Yeah, and we got the hotel. So we added a new. I don't think we've been to that hotel yet.
No,
so.
I don't think so either. So
we got some extra world building there.
That's good.
So
That's
7.
156.
So straight 7s for me. 7.6. Brian gives us a 7.3 overall.
Okay.
So pretty serviceable episode.
Well above average.
But yeah, that's about what I felt on this episode. There's nothing too special in the episode, but again, it was a good episode. There was nothing wrong with it at all.
No, I don't think so. That was good stuff. I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed everyone who wanted to listen to us today. Yeah. So thank you all for listening.
Which is good because we're gonna end the season strong coming up because we've got. Technically, we have 3 episodes left. Mm-hmm. Now, do you want to combine parts 1 and 2 of the season finale into one episode?
Yes.
Okay, so then we have 2 really good episodes. Technically 3, but we're going to do it 2 because I guess when we get to the Bleakening, we're not going to do parts 1 and 2 of the Bleakening. We're going to do
we would just do the whole thing,
yeah.
Right?
So we've got Gina Dawn coming up next, and then we have our season finale, the first 2-part episode in Bob's Burgers history. The Wharf House, or how Bob saves or destroys the town.
Right.
So that'll be a great way to end season 4. Man, we're just cruising along with these seasons.
Yeah, we are.
But yeah, that's gonna do it for this week's Burgers and Fries episode.
Oh, it sure is.
Next week, with it being the holiday, we'll still have a release on Thursday. But yeah, thanks for listening to us.
Yeah,
definitely listen to
we
this
do
one.
appreciate everybody for coming and listening. So
You can listen to this one during your holiday travels on the weekend.
That's right.
Or during the week. Who knows when you're traveling?
who knows? So we are Burgers and Fries Podcast. You can find us on Instagram or Twitter at Burgers Fries Pod. You can also find us on anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Probably the place you're listening to them right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Google, iTunes.
Don't forget to subscribe. Leave us a message if you like us. And if you like us, then you can go to our Patreon and show us how much you like us.
If Eugene and Courtney like us.
That's right.
When he finds out about Doug's music.
His music
that
room.
he has.
His recording studio.
I can't wait to say I like you. Really?
Yeah. So, don't forget Patreon. We are Burgers Fries Pod over there as well, right?
Burgers and Fries.
Burgers and Fries. So, patreon.com/Burgers and Fries. So, thanks everyone again so much for listening. We are Burgers and Fries Podcast. Let's say it again. Burgers and Fries Podcast.
Yes.
Just in case everybody forgot. Right? I'm Brian.
I'm Ryan. Don't you tell me no lies.